Lan An spent the entire night awake, the yellow light in her Da Nang hotel room illuminating her face, now devoid of makeup but radiating an unprecedented determination. On her laptop screen were numerous documents, images, and information about Min Vu, the soldier she had once looked down upon and spoken to with cold, cutting words. Now, his story was profoundly stirring her heart, relentlessly and unceasingly. It was no longer mere guilt or shame, it was a deep awakening for someone who had lived too long within the safe confines of logic and apathy. She spent the entire morning completing a proposal to send to the director of the humanitarian fund, every number, statistic, and word filled with remorse and hope. She wrote not just as an expert in the pharmaceutical industry, but as a human being, a woman who, for the first time, felt the need to do something kind, something truly meaningful. In the proposal, she emphasized, "We cannot claim to be healing the world if we fail to see those struggling to survive right in front of us." The meeting with the board of directors took place in a luxurious, cold, and serious conference room. The eyes of the company's leaders seemed still filled with skepticism. Lan An opened her slide presentation. A photo of Min Vu embracing his daughter appeared on the large screen. Little and Nian's eyes in the picture seemed to hold an entire sky of hope. "This is not just a story about a soldier and a child," she said, her voice steady. "This is the ultimate test of our compassion." A moment of silence enveloped the room. Then the director spoke. "Are you willing to take personal responsibility for this project?" Without hesitation, Lan An nodded. "I will directly coordinate and oversee the entire process. I don't just believe in the therapeutic efficacy of the drug, I believe in the power of compassion." That afternoon, an internal announcement was sent throughout the company. The humanitarian fund would officially cover all treatment expenses for little Nin, the daughter of Lieutenant Min Vu. The story immediately spread widely on social media, garnering thousands of shares and hundreds of heartfelt comments. People not only spoke of Min Vu as a courageous father but also of Lan An, the woman who dared to confront her own indifference and change. The press began to take notice. Major news outlets simultaneously published articles with headlines such as, "From Pride to Compassion, The Awakening Journey of a Businesswoman," and "The Soldier and the Child," the story that made the entire pharmaceutical industry reflect on its role. Yet amidst this media wave, Lan An did not appear in the press, did not make statements, nor did she accept any words of thanks. She quietly visited Da Nang Hospital, bringing a small teddy bear and an apology she had yet to muster the courage to voice. As she entered the hospital room, Min Vu was sitting beside his daughter's bed, his eyes weary but still as gentle as the first time she had seen him. Little Nin opened her eyes, smiling faintly upon seeing the gift. Min Vu turned around, recognizing her. He said nothing, only nodded slightly. "No need for forgiveness. Just change." Lan An looked at the child, her cheeks sunken from treatment, and she realized that 100 million was not the greatest gift she had given. The greatest gift was a heart that had once been frozen, now learning to feel again. She left the hospital as dusk fell. The Da Nang sky was calm that day. But within her, something was stirring, as if, for the first time in a long while, she was truly alive. Lan An became a living bridge between modern medicine and a little life battling death's scythe every hour. No longer just a sharp marketing director focused solely on spreadsheets and sales targets, she was now a woman carrying a newfound purpose. To save Nin was not merely an act of charity, but a mission predestined to change her forever. She woke each day to a packed schedule, meetings with the medical team, monitoring financial support progress, preparing documents related to new treatment trials, and updating director Quang Min and the leadership team. Yet amidst this whirlwind of work, what kept her steadfast was Nian's gaze, the frail yet hopeful eyes that lit up each time she entered the hospital room. No one expected that a person who once coldly remarked, "Soldiers always demand privileges," was now doing everything possible to save a soldier's daughter's life. The story quickly spread like wildfire on social media. Short clips capturing moments of her conversing with Min Vu, or standing by Nian's bedside with a gentle smile, touched the hearts of millions. People began sharing the story with sentiments like, "Some miracles are created not by deities, but by human hearts," or, "When one acknowledges their mistakes, it's the moment they start to change the world." The fundraising page for Little Nin unexpectedly received thousands of small donations from across the country. No longer were they massive contributions from anonymous benefactors but small amounts from students, workers, and everyday people who believed that if everyone lent a hand, this fragile life could gain another day. The movement's immense reach prompted national news outlets to step in. Articles were published one after another: a soldier, a child, and an awakened heart, the story that touched the nation in Da Nang. Photos of Lan An and Min Vu beside Nin graced the covers of numerous health and humanitarian magazines. Lan An did not seek the spotlight, she declined interviews, avoided public statements, and refused media invitations. Yet, when once asked why she had changed so much, she simply replied, "Because there are things in life that, once you've seen them with your heart, you can no longer turn away." That statement quickly became a viral quote, printed on posters, written as statuses, and shared across humanitarian forums, sparking an unprecedented wave of inspiration in the healthcare industry and charitable community. With full sponsorship from the pharmaceutical corporation, Nin began a new treatment regimen that showed promising signs. Each passing week brought a little more vitality, a faint blush to her cheeks, a small smile as she listened to Min Vu's fairy tales, as if life was being rewritten with a brighter future. Amidst it all, Lan An continued her regular visits. Not out of obligation, but because she had truly bonded with the little girl. She would sit beside Min Vu during quiet afternoons. They didn't exchange many words, but the frost in their gazes had thawed. Sometimes, Min Vu would recount stories of fallen comrades in the explosion in Tai Nguyen, while Lan An shared the moment she first saw Nin smile at receiving a teddy bear. They no longer seemed like opposites, but rather two puzzle pieces that had found each other at the right time. One brought faith, the other brought opportunity, and together, they were preserving what mattered most, life. Somewhere in every action, every glance, every hurried step along the hospital corridor, Lan An realized for the first time in her life that she was truly alive, not for success, not for fame, but for a reason greater than herself. A child, a soldier, and an awakened heart. Perhaps this was the most beautiful chapter in the book of her life. That night became a quiet yet profound turning point, unadorned by flowery words or dramatic background music, just an honest moment shared between three people, a soldier, a child, and a woman who had spent her life safely enclosed within the boundaries of fame and power. After Lan An left the hospital room, she didn't head straight home as usual. Instead, she stood silently in the hospital courtyard, the warm yellow lights casting a gentle glow over her face. A strange feeling welled up inside her, both light and heavy. She knew that from the moment she held Nin's hand, not out of duty but to provide genuine warmth, she had stepped through a door she could never return from. In the days that followed, Lan An began to change her habits. She no longer checked the clock obsessively as she once did while managing billion-dollar marketing campaigns. Deadlines and KPI pressures no longer dictated her life. She started waking up earlier to visit the hospital, bringing yogurt, toast, and occasionally a small box of toys she had carefully chosen. She never explained why she did these things, nor did she seek recognition, her heart simply wouldn't let her act otherwise. Each time little Nin smiled, Lan An felt as if a part of her own soul was being healed. Even the tension lines on Min Vu's face began to ease. They were no longer two people on opposing sides, now, they stood together on the side of life. The story of Nin continued to spread, and it was no longer just about a sick child fighting cancer. People spoke of a resilient father who worked night shifts as a security guard despite receiving sponsorship, just to preserve his dignity and pride as a soldier. They told of a woman who had once stood atop the pinnacle of success, who had once hurt others with cutting words, but now spent every spare moment wiping the sweat from the forehead of a little girl who wasn't her own flesh and blood. And it was this transformation that touched millions of hearts. A flood of articles, videos, and short clips created by the online community went viral. If someone as cold as stone can learn to love, then so can we. A group of medical students organized an online seminar about Nin's experimental treatment regimen, drawing over 200,000 views within 24 hours. A TikTok trend featuring videos titled, "The Story I Didn't Believe, Until I Saw Lan An by the Hospital Bed," garnered millions of likes. A hashtag began trending across all platforms, #awakened by a smile. People weren't just donating anymore, they were starting to reflect on their own lives. Handwritten letters began pouring into the hospital, from mothers, students, and even veterans, sent to Min Vu and Nin as words of encouragement, blessings, and sometimes stories of lives transformed by the inspiration from this tale. Lan An was unaware that she had become a symbol of a gentle awakening, a reminder that even if we've lived wrongly or hurt others in the past, we can start anew if our hearts are sincere. She didn't need praise, but each time she saw Nin smile or witnessed a little less weariness in Min Vu's expression, she knew she was on the right path. And every time she stood outside the hospital room, her heart ached, not with the cold indifference of lifeless contracts, but with worry, emotion, and the purest love she had ever known. One afternoon, as sunlight shimmered through the window, Lan An quietly stood watching Nin sleep. Min Vu sat beside her, his gaze gentler than any light. She softly asked, unsure if it was to him or herself, if one day she recovers, will we still see each other again? Min Vu looked up, his eyes deep and calm like the sea at dusk. He didn't answer right away but simply smiled, and in that smile, Lan An saw something like hope. With each passing day, Lan An felt her heart grow lighter. Mornings were no longer filled with tense meetings and dry strategic plans but with Nian's laughter and the gentle look in Min Vu's eyes as he walked his daughter along the hospital hallway. She began to notice the little details, the way sunlight caught Nian's hair as she drew pictures, the way Min Vu quietly adjusted the blanket for his daughter whenever a draft entered the room, and the warmth she felt whenever she caught him looking at her with genuine respect. No one spoke of it, but everyone felt it. Something was growing, not just a bond, but something deeper that reached the very core of the heart. One morning, as she brought a basket of fresh fruit to the hospital, Min Vu unexpectedly said, "Today, Nien is being allowed to go home for a few days to recover. Are you free? I'd like to invite you over, to say thank you." She nodded, though her heart trembled slightly. For the first time, Lan An stepped into a space that wasn't an office or a conference room but the home of a man she had once considered a stranger. The small house by the sea was simple yet warm. The walls were covered with Nian's drawings, and every corner carried traces of love. Lan An didn't know when such simplicity had begun to bring her a sense of peace, far greater than the multi-million-dollar penthouses in the city's heart. That afternoon, the three of them went to the beach together. Nien ran joyfully, picking up seashells, while Lan An took off her shoes, letting her bare feet feel the soft sand beneath. Min Vu stood nearby, his shirt ruffling slightly in the breeze. "I used to think I'd never trust anyone again," he said, his eyes fixed on the horizon. "But then you came along. No fanfare, no impositions. You were just there when we needed you most." Lan An turned to look at him, her heart tightening slightly. She said nothing, only smiled gently, but inside, it felt as though all her scars were slowly healing. Their story didn't stop at the hospital or the fairy tale-like party. It began to spread beyond in a strange and deeply emotional way. A photographer accidentally captured a moment of Nien hugging Lan An during the party and shared it on social media with the caption, "A true princess and the woman who once forgot how to dream." The photo immediately went viral, shared by millions alongside heartfelt sentiments. From that moment, the story of Nien, Min Vu, and Lan An became a symbol of hope, awakening, and compassion. Lan An was invited to talk shows, not as a CEO but as the woman who learned to love again because of a child. She said, "I used to think I had everything, money, power, fame. But it was Nien and her father who taught me that, sometimes, the most precious things come from the smallest, quietest moments." That statement spread like wildfire, appearing in countless articles, viral videos, and even printed on t-shirts for fundraising campaigns for children with cancer. Love, without conditions. A large campaign was launched under the name #ACastle for Annan, rallying thousands of people to help rebuild a playground for children with cancer in Da Nang. Lan An led the list of sponsors, but this time, there was no company logo or loud promotional messages. She came as a spiritual mother, someone who had found herself again through the clear, brave eyes of a little girl. From that point on, no one called her the Ice Queen anymore. They called her the Giver of Hope, a woman who once lived solely to conquer now lived to love. Since the day Nien was discharged from the hospital, their lives entered a completely new chapter. The small house by the sea was no longer just a shelter for a father and daughter but had become a true home, a place filled with the joyful laughter of a brave little girl, the peaceful gaze of a once lonely father, and the tenderness and warmth that Lan An brought every day. Each morning, she brewed coffee, opened the windows to welcome the early sunlight, and prepared breakfast with Nien in the cozy little kitchen. No more relentless phone calls, no more deadlines or tense meetings, just genuine moments, simple and gentle, yet deeply moving in a way that touched her heart profoundly. They say that strong women can conquer the world, but when they choose to relinquish power to embrace love, that is when they are strongest. Lan An embodies this truth. Once a symbol of success in the business world, she has now become an emblem of a heart that knows how to love, to give, and to receive. Her journey from the Ice Queen to the Keeper of the Hearth has spread widely across social media. Numerous articles sharing the touching story of her and Min Vu have garnered millions of interactions. Many say that it is not just a love story, but a real-life miracle, a healing of both body and soul. A television channel produced a special feature titled The Second Heart, detailing the journey from hospital to home of three individuals who seemed to have nothing in common. In the interview, when asked what made her choose to stay, Lan An simply smiled and said, "I didn't choose to stay. My heart was here before I even realized it." This statement became a viral quote, shared widely on fan pages, inspirational articles, and even featured in motivational videos for modern women. Soon after, Lan An and Min Vu decided to establish a charity fund named Neen, aimed at providing treatment opportunities and spiritual support for children with serious illnesses. They not only raised funds but also organized inspirational activities, sharing sessions, small festivals in hospitals, and heartfelt community campaigns. Hundreds of volunteers signed up after hearing their story, including former entrepreneurs and those who had lost faith in life. It was the love and resilience of these three individuals that brought them back to hope. The media dubbed them the family of light. A man who had lost everything, a child who had battled death, and a woman who seemed incapable of shedding tears. Now they have become rays of light warming thousands of hearts. In a short clip that went viral on TikTok, Neen beams when asked, "What do you wish for the most now?" She responds innocently yet firmly, "I just wish for my dad and Ms. Lan An to always be together. That's enough." The clip concludes with the three of them holding hands, walking under the coastal trees, the sunset casting a golden hue over the scene. A sweet ending that opens up countless new hopes. And perhaps, that is the most miraculous thing. In a tumultuous, harsh world, broken pieces can still find each other, mend one another, and together write a story that no one thought possible. A story that makes people believe that, no matter how much pain the past holds, love, if sincere enough, can heal all wounds. If you are reading these lines, perhaps you, too, carry wounds, have doubted love, or felt weary under life's pressures. Maybe you've thought that you must be strong, successful, and in control to be recognized. But slow down a bit, because life is not a race. It is a journey, where each of us turns our own unique pages. The story of Lan An and Min Vu is not a fairy tale, but a gentle reminder that sometimes, miracles begin from the most ordinary things. A sincere glance, a timely hand to hold, or someone willing to stay when you feel there's nothing left to hold on to. We often find ourselves chasing what we perceive as value in distant realms, be it wealth, fame, or admiration. Yet, perhaps true value resides within human connections, in mutual understanding, and in our capacity to heal one another through genuine affection. Maybe today hasn't been kind to you. Perhaps you're standing at life's crossroads, uncertain of which path to take. But believe this, sometimes, a single story, like Lan An embracing change, or Min Vu daring to open his heart, is enough to ignite a new spark of hope within you. Never judge someone solely by their exterior or the past they carry. Behind a cold gaze might lie an ocean of wounds. Behind a mask of success could be a heart yearning for love. And if you take a moment to look deeper, to slow down just a bit, you'll realize, people don't need much, just a place to belong, someone to trust, and a reason to keep going. This story is being shared millions of times across social media, not because it's overly dramatic or grandiose, but because it touches something deep within each of us, the desire to live authentically, to love, and to be forgiven. If your heart stirs even slightly upon reading these final lines, consider sharing this with someone you think might need a bit of warmth, a touch of motivation to move forward. For who knows, a simple sentence, a fleeting moment, could very well mark the beginning of a new chapter in their journey. Thank you for reading this far. May you always retain the gentleness in your heart, even when the world outside may not always be gentle with you. And perhaps, on an unexpected day, you'll find your own family in a truly special way, just as Lan An did amidst days that seemed filled only with loss.